Welcome, the faithful few, my mercenaries, for my latest PowerPoint presentation. This is the top 10 Iron Maiden songs of all time. First of all, let me just say, like the previous video, the Aerosmith video, I've gone from the idea of having a top 20 so that I can have a myriad of songs to talk about and get deep on, deep cuts, to cutting the list and to doing what I think people expect, which is a top 10. But for that reason, there's a lot of songs. I mean, I wrote a top 20 and Iron Maiden top 20. And that block of songs from 20 to 11 was so good. And so many of my favourite songs there, and so many kind of deep tracks that people probably haven't heard that I could have talked about. But I do appreciate that people have limited time. So, with all that being said, let's get straight into it. I mean, we're not getting straight into it because I'm still talking bollocks. Let's see if I can cut the intro down to less than 4 minutes. Iron Maiden. It's not going to happen because I can feel that I'm going to start talking bollocks straight away. Iron Maiden, historically, let's just set the scene here. I would say I was into music from a certain age. I used to buy sort of hits tapes, and now that's what I call music. So the first kind of bands I can truly say I was into was bands like Aha and pop music in general. And then in the late 80s, a friend at school said to me that I should listen to Seventh Son of a Seventh Son by Iron Maiden. And I didn't come from a place that knew what that was, but I bought it on cassette tape and I listened to it, and let's be honest here, it did change my life. And also, so that's sort of setting the scene here, because what you'll find is when you ask someone what their favourite Iron Maiden album is, it's usually, and I'm pretty confident I'm right on this one, it's usually the first Iron Maiden album that they got into. An old mate of mine swears that Somewhere in Time is the best album. And then when you ask him what was the first Iron Maiden album he bought, funny enough, it was Somewhere in Time. If you ask me what the best Iron Maiden album is, funny enough, it's Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. So you can see where I'm coming from. And that might see how the charts skewed. I devoured Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I would, at that point in time, claim Iron Maiden to be my favourite band, through No Prayer for the Dying and Fear of the Dark. Then, at that time, grunge was hitting, and also for me, Britpop. And I've told this story before on countless Iron Maiden videos. You can go back. Maybe I'll link to them in this video. So I won't say too much about that story. But suffice to say, the golden period for Iron Maiden was pretty much the 80s. Now, coming at a top 10 where I'm supposed to talk about a band's whole career, with a band like Aerosmith or Iron Maiden, you've got decades. So you'd probably expect me to be including songs from albums like Virtual 11 and The X Factor and Brave New World, Dance, A Matter of Life and Death, Final Frontier, Book of Souls. A Matter of Life and Death. A Matter of Life and Death, when that album came out, I thought it was fantastic. I went to see Iron Maiden on that tour where they played the album through. And whereas most of the fans were against that, the sheer concept of that, I loved it because I loved that album so much. I had it going round and round in the car. Fantastic album. But again, we're talking a top 10 here. How many songs like Brighter Than 1,000 Suns or whatever, how many songs like that can move, can budge a song like The Trooper out of the top 10? Are you with me? So what I would say is, when you're watching this list, and we've had it on the previous list, the Beatles and Aerosmith, when you're watching this list and you're just thinking, what's that song doing in the list? I wouldn't have. Well, just bear in mind, I mean, try doing it yourself for your favourite band. And if your favourite band's Iron Maiden, seriously, right, why don't you pause this video now and, pause it after what I'm about to say. Pause this video and write your own top 10. honestly, try writing your own top 20 with the knowledge that you think you're about to do a top 20 to the world, and then realise just before you record that actually you're going to cut songs 20 to 11. To give you a flavour here, you're cutting songs. Holy shit, I'm cutting some of my favourite songs. In fact, unbelievably, The Trooper was at number 14. The Trooper's gone. I shouldn't give away too much here, but The Trooper's not in the top 10. 2 Minutes to Midnight is not in the top 10. Holy shit. Wrathchild isn't in the top 10. Anyway, you get a flavour there of the songs that I might have talked about if we had done a top 20. Right, top 10. Iron Maiden, the greatest British heavy metal band of all time. What, my mercenaries, will be at number 10? Right, okay. At number 10, we have... Okay. So, when we talk about Iron Maiden and the songs from Maiden that are likely to be in my chart, we are talking about those magic albums that go from Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave, Somewhere in Time, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. You are struggling, and I struggled. If you're trying to put deep cuts in, if you're trying to be different and to surprise people with your choices, if you're trying to include albums that have Blaze Bayley or albums from the Bruce comeback period, if you're trying to include the albums from the early 90s where Bruce's mind was elsewhere, if you're trying to include if you're trying to include Paul Di'Anno songs, but you need to budge songs from these albums from the top 10 and you've only got a choice of 10 tracks, holy shit, you're a better man than I. Children of the Damned at number 10. This is from the Number of the Beast album. This is the first album that Bruce Dickinson sang on, but we still have Clive Burr on the drums, an incredible force of nature. So why is Children of the Damned in the chart? Well, Children of the Damned is another song. Iron Maiden are a band whereas other bands, and I would include most bands here, Aerosmith certainly, the Beatles, will write about love or personal experience. Iron Maiden take moments from history and literary works. So they'll take an idea from a film title, book title. So here you've got Children of the Damned. What was the film called? Village of the Damned, black and white one, the Midwich Cuckoos, was it? The one where all the women in the village become pregnant at the same time and all the kids are born and they're all like psychically linked in it. I don't want to give too much away there, but I mean, maybe I'm talking bollocks here. I think I'm right in saying that. So this is a film. This is a song inspired by a film book, and it is just one of Iron Maiden's builders. They've got songs like this that have various parts to them, and you'll find this through this chart. Iron Maiden kind of write in sections. Most of the songs are written by Steve Harris. It'll be interesting to sort of just flag up on the screen maybe who each song's written by, just to get a flavour of who wins the battle of writing Iron Maiden songs. It will be Steve Harris. It'll be Steve Harris. There's something about this song. It's gentle. It builds. Bruce Dickinson's vocal is fantastic. He's walking like a dead man. If he had lived, he would have crucified us all. Now he's standing. It's just really... Children of the damned. Children of the damned. If people who criticise Iron Maiden, and some of you know who you are, because you said it to me, will say, look, Iron Maiden are just a band that just take a phrase, usually use it for the title of the song, and just repeat it ad infinitum, ad nauseum. Bruce will just, if the song's called Children of the Damned, you can be damn sure that the chorus is going to go, Children of the Damned. Wait for it. Children of the Damned. Wait for it. Children of the Damned. Children of the Damned. Yeah, I accept that. And I would go further and say, if you combine that with the fact that the songs also have a structure with the 3 chords. Ba-ba-bum, 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 ba-ba-bum. Pretty much all the songs do that. Combine that also with a kind of galloping drum beat. Put that with the bass line. Yeah, that's every Iron Maiden song. It's certainly this Iron Maiden song. But hey, if you're not an Iron Maiden fan and you're wondering what all the fuss is about, Children of the Damned isn't a bad place to start. Why don't you make a playlist where Children of the Damned is the first song, and you build to whatever my number 1 is, and just play it in a row, and just sit back with a cup of coffee and just listen. Don't criticise, just listen, and come out of it the other end and tell me whether Iron Maiden are the band for you or not. But Children of the Damned from the Number of the Beast album, damn fine song. Next, Phantom of the Opera. Now, when I was writing my chart, this is a song that I struggled to keep in the top 10 because there are certainly aspects of this song I don't like. This is a song from the first Iron Maiden album. So you're talking Paul Di'Anno on vocals. And like Children of the Damned, it's another section song. A long song, inspired by literary work, with definite departments through the song. This is the intro bit, this is the verse bit, this is the weird instrumental bit, this is and it has an intro that was used when I was a kid on a Lucasade advert. Daley Thompson. Ding 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 ding. Daley Thompson was a decathlete at the time, was on the tracks. I can't do it here because you can't see where I am. Ding ding ding. So he's on. That's my fingers on the line. Ding 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 ding. It's building up. Lucasade, all the power of 1,000 suns. Ding 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 ding. And then when Paul Di'Anno goes, oh yeah. Daley Thompson starts running, and it goes, Lucasade, the greatest drink of all time. It's got, Phantom of the Opera has such an amazing intro, it doesn't really matter what happens after it. What actually happens after it is you've got Paul Di'Anno struggling to fit the words of the songs into the verses. It's very much like what a modern equivalent would be, or modern? Going back to like 94 here. 93, 94. A modern equivalent would be when Richie Edwards used to write the lyrics for the Manic Street Preachers. He'd write lyrics, and then James Dean Bradfield would just have to fit those lyrics into the song. And if you listen to an album like the Holy Bible, he was often struggling, and that's how it sounds here with Paul Di'Anno. And another thing I've got to mention is when I was a kid, in my teens, learning the guitar, I bought an Iron Maiden songbook, and the problem with this particular Iron Maiden book, most of the books I bought, because back then you didn't have the internet basically didn't exist. Kids. It didn't exist. So I used to buy guitar tab books, and I bought an Iron Maiden songbook, and it was a white paperback thing. I mean, if I could find a picture of it, I'd put it on the screen, but when you open it, the problem was, it wasn't written in tab, it was written in actual music, staves and notes and things, which, I mean, I can spend a week working it out, but, you know, I can't read music, never could read music. So that was a problem. But I used it to, like, learn the lyrics of the songs. And on this song, there were, in the verse where it was written down what the words were, it said, I stand there every Wednesday and wait for the curtain to fall. And I read that. I stand there every Wednesday and wait for the curtain to fall. That's a bit strange. That's obviously not the lyrics. Standing in the wings, wait for the curtain to fall, the wings of the stage. It was that point, even as a youngster, that I realised that never believe what you read, because all that had happened was someone was commissioned to write this book, and all they'd done was listen to the lyrics and misheard them just like I do on every song. But they wrote theirs down and sold it in a book. So don't give me any of that shit. If you see something written down, it doesn't mean it happened. Doesn't mean it's right. If you see it on Wikipedia, it doesn't mean it's right. No, nothing means anything, because every human being can be wrong. But Phantom of the Opera is in this chart at number 9 because it has one of the greatest intros of any heavy metal song. That's why it's there. Don't need to listen to too much after that. It's a good song and everything, but the fitting of the lyrics into the verses is problematic, right? What's going to be at number 8? I'm genuinely excited now. The Evil That Men Do. Right. Now, this is like where on the Aerosmith one I said, really, all you need to do is listen to Aerosmith's greatest hits, which specifically was a collection of greatest hits released at the end of the 70s that only captured Aerosmith in the 70s. That's why it's specifically that red greatest hits album. Anyway, you can listen to that and Pump and you'll be fine. Here, like I said, just listen to those 5 Iron Maiden albums, Number of the Beast through Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and you'll be quite happy. The Evil That Men Do is from Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. It's so hard to know what to pick off this album. Whereas your average Maiden fan will criticise a song like Can I Play With Madness, I love it. That could easily have been... Let me just check it's not. Hang on. Can I Play With Madness was number 12. I love this album, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. If I had to do my thing where I say I could remove a song from any album you present me to improve it, I'd probably take The Prophecy off. But I could improve any album by removing a track. I have that ability. They don't call me Edward Scissorhands. They don't call me Music Scissorhands. Well, they don't call me Music Scissorhands anyway. But The Evil That Men Do. Here we go with the criticism, because guess how the chorus goes? It goes, the evil that men do lives on and on. The evil that men do lives on and on. The evil that men do lives on and on. The evil that men do lives on and on. Circle of fire, my baptism of joy at an end it seems. Just thinking about it now. I love the lyrics on this album. They're fantastic. It's all mystical and concept-y, but the lyrics on this song in particular are fantastic. It follows that same structure that Children of the Damned does. It's the evil that men do lives on and on. The evil that men do lives on and on. The evil that men do lives on and on. Dum dum bum. Down, bound, bound, bound. I mean, yes, it is a formula. It's a formula. And around this time, as they were the biggest metal band in England in the 80s, they would say this formula worked well. So by the time they got to Seventh Son and the Seventh Son, they were using the formula. And the formula gave them a number 8 on my chart, because The Evil That Men Do is a fantastic song. I think at this point, this is the first entry in the chart for Nico McBrain on drums. And this is just, I think the way that Bruce sings on this album is him at his mighty best. There's like a snarl, kind of viciousness to the vocals that wasn't quite there before. He took that further on the likes of Be Quick or Be Dead on later albums, and he certainly on his solo stuff had that snarl, but this was the first time for me it really entered into the Iron Maiden songs. And again, if you put this into your playlist, Children of the Damned, Phantom of the Opera, The Evil That Men Do. This is serious stuff. This is seriously good. I mean, seriously good. I love The Evil That Men Do. I love this album, Son of a Son, and perhaps this top 10's a bit interchangeable, because how is one song better than another song when I've left? For instance, Infinite Dreams isn't in this chart, and yet I could sing every lyric to you now from Infinite Dreams. I mean, I could just speak it to the camera just to show you. Infinite dreams, I can't deny them. Infinity is hard to comprehend. I couldn't hear those screams even in my wildest dreams. Suffocation, waking in a sweat. Scared to fall asleep again in case the dream begins again. Someone chasing, I cannot move. Standing rigid, a nightmare statue. What a dream, when will it end and will I transcend? Restless sleep, the mind's in turmoil. One nightmare ends, another fertile. It seems to me, so scared to sleep, scared to wake. Now in too deep, even though it's reached new heights. I rather like the rest, and heights makes me wonder, makes me think there's more to this. I'm on the brink. It's not the fear of what's beyond, and it's just that I might not respond. I have an interest, almost craving. Would I like to get too far in? Can't call it coincidence. Too many things are evident. They tell me you're an unbeliever, spiritualist with me. I'm never. Wouldn't you like to know the truth of what's out there, to have the proof? Find out just which side you're on. Where would you end, in heaven or in hell? Hell, hello, help me to find my truth. Helping about seeing the future. Save me from torture myself, even with my dreams. There's got to be just more to it than this, and tell me why do we exist. I like to think that when I die, I get a chance another time and to return and live again, reincarnate, playing the game and again and again and again and again and again. That's Infinite Dreams. And that isn't even in this chart. I just wanted to get across the fact that I know every lyric off this album. I know every lyric of The Evil That Men Do as well. I know every Iron Maiden lyric up to a certain point. And I've lost my point a little bit there. But I just wanted to sort of... There is a difference. There is a difference between liking something and loving something. I just want to get across the fact that I love... I adore this album. So you would get you would get a different chart if you were, and there are people out there, Iron Maiden fans, if you were to ask for the top 10 from an Iron Maiden fan who doesn't hold Son of a Seventh Son so close. There are fans out there who believe that Iron Maiden were over the minute Paul Di'Anno left. But for me, and I've banged on a bit too long about it now, track number 8. Number 8 in my chart. The Evil That Men Do. What's number 7? Power Slave. Power Slave. Now, Power Slave was probably Iron Maiden's biggest, most epic album. The tour that they did, the World Slavery Tour. Was it the World Slavery Tour they did off the back of Power Slave? Can't remember. It produced one of the greatest live albums ever, which was Live After Death. And I mean, what song do you pick from Power Slave? I had to leave off some tracks from this album that I would love to have put in as like a deep cut. At number 16, I'd put Back in the Village. An incredible tour de force on all the instruments. And it relates to The Prisoner, Patrick McGoohan. Also, The Prisoner. It doesn't matter about that. The Prisoner's not in the top 10 either. That's at number 15. But I really wanted to put The Prisoner in just for personal reasons and the reasons of this channel. But another fantastic song didn't make it. However, from Power Slave itself, the title track has made it. Because it's just such an epic, flamboyant song. It's got Bruce Dickinson's mark all over it. It's an incredible song made up of sections. And those sections are just great. And I grew up watching Bruce play this song live with a stupid mask on the Live After Death video on VHS. And okay, if you're picking songs for Iron Maiden for a top 10, you could go down the route, which I kind of am here, just picking the most epic songs. So you've got Children of the Damned, you've got Phantom of the Opera, you've got Power Slave. You can see where this chart's going now. You can get a flavour for what's probably going to be, you know, at number 1, number 2, number 3. You could probably guess right now. But I like Power Slave. It's a really fat sounding album. The most sort of analog, tape, fat, podgy sounding of all the Iron Maiden albums. And there was someone, when I was having an argument with someone about band-maid, it was a ridiculous argument where they were telling me that band-maid were infinitely superior in every way to Iron Maiden. And to all bands, in fact. To all bands. But they were saying the drummer of band-maid is a better drummer than Nico McBrain, and the singer is a better singer than Bruce Dickinson, and the bassist is a better bassist than Steve Harris, and Iron Maiden albums sound thin, and someone like that just needs to listen to the whole of the Power Slave album. They'll still hate it, but honestly, just don't stop talking bollocks. Next! Oh, okay. So we've gone from the title track of the Power Slave album to the title track of Iron Maiden's 7th album, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. This is maybe the most epic song that Iron Maiden ever released. It's tricky because as the years went by, they once released a 13-minute song on the Power Slave album called Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and that sort of seemed as about as epic as you could go. And although Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, I can't remember how long the song is. It's not. I don't think it's 13 minutes, but it's ramped it up again. It's even more epic in scope than Rime of the Ancient Mariner. It's a beautiful song. Is it Iron Maiden's most epic song? The problem is that as the years went by then, and especially when you get to A Matter of Life and Death and Book of Souls, you get to the point where Iron Maiden are just happy to make a song however long they want. If a song needs to be 20 minutes, what the hell, make it 20 minutes. It's like Iron Maiden decided that they were going to do nothing but epic songs. Whereas back when Seventh Son of a Seventh Son was released, it hit home. It really hit. It hit hard. Bum 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 ba ba da bum. Bum 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 ba ba da bum. Bum 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 ba da bum. Bum 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 ba da bum. Bum bum bum. Galloping drums come back in. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. Here they stand, brothers them all the sons divided they fall. Here awaits the birth of the Son, the seventh, the heavenly, the chosen one. Oh, he doesn't sing like that, but it's got everything. It's got sing along, it's got galloping drums, it's got those really epic lyrical inspirations. This is another song that's based off a book about and the whole album is a concept about how a seventh son of a seventh son has kind of mystical, magical powers. And it's a great song. Lots of keyboards splashed all over it. And there was a time when Iron Maiden were proud to declare, I think it might have been on Peace of Mind, where they actually made that statement on it. Somewhere in their list of thank yous on Peace of Mind, the very last one. But bearing in mind, this is Peace of Mind. Sorry, Peace of Mind. I breathed the coffee down. Peace of Mind was Nico McBrain's first album with the band. So right before they wish a very special thanks to Clive Burr. Good luck, mate. Clive Burr was the previous drummer. Right before that, they say, Noths. They don't say Noth. Sounds more Shakespeare. They say, no synthesizers or ulterior motives. This was at the point where Iron Maiden were proud to be a metal band who used nothing but real instruments. But by the time of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, any pretense that they weren't interested in using keyboards was long gone. In fact, if you listen to Iron Maiden's albums after that proclamation, from then on there was keyboards and synth guitars everywhere. Anyway, okay. Next, right, let's try. God, look at half an hour. Let's speed up. Next, number 5. Aces High, the opening track of Power Slave, the first song they played on their the Live After Death VHS tour. And if you're a proper Iron Maiden fan like me, if you ever hear a recording of that old Winston Churchill speech where he's talking about fighting them in the hills, and the bit where at the end where he goes, we shall never surrender. To me, I always hear, even though it didn't happen on when Winston Churchill actually gave that speech, but I just hear bam 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 bang bang. There go the sirens that warn off the air raid. There goes the sound of the guns sending flak. Up for the scramble, we got to get airborne. Got to get up for the coming attack. Jump in the cockpits. I wish I'd started in a lower key there. Like I'd done a proper Bruce impression. That being said, listen to Bruce trying to sing it half the time, especially back in the day. He was struggling as well. Aces High was a song that I toyed with putting at number 1. It's that good. It's another historical song. We haven't had a song about love yet, have we? Perhaps Phantom of the Opera, maybe. But it's another kind of literary history song. It sounds like its subject. It has firepower. It sounds like a machine gun going off. It sounds like you're in a fighter plane. It's a fantastic song, and it had to be in the top 10. Could have been higher. But unfortunately for Aces High, Moonchild, which is the opening track of... So we've gone from the opening track of Power Slave, and we're now at the opening track of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. This probably wouldn't make it into many Iron Maiden fans' top 10. But it is just fantastic. Funny enough, Podrick Floyd asked me to listen to some Alan Parsons Project music the other day, and I did. I put a song on, and I think it was that day, and I remember thinking, wow, there's a song that they did back in whenever it was, the 70s or the 80s, that has an intro that's very similar to this. Not that it matters, but I just love this song. I do like the way it starts. I was going to sing it right now. I can't bloody remember it now. How does it go? 7 deadly sins. I have to get past the intro. 7 deadly sins. 7 ways to win. 7 holy paths to hell, and your trip begins. 7 downward slopes. 7 bloodied hopes. 7 are your burning fires. 7 your desires. Boom. Bum badum badum badadadadam badadadam bum badadadam dadadadadam dadadadam bum badum dadum dadadadam dadadadam bum dadadadadam bam 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 bam. I love that riff. Bam 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 bam. I am he, the bornless one, the fallen angel watching you. Babylon, the scarlet whore, I'll infiltrate your gratitude. Too much coffee. Don't you dare to save a son, kill him now and save the young ones. Don't be the mother of a birth, strangle babe. Be the devil's own, Lucifer's my name. Moonchild. Why didn't I just start singing like that? I am here. I am here. The boneless one. The fallen angel watching you. Babylon, the scarlet hole. I'll infiltrate your gratitude. Oh, I love Moonchild. Great song. Great song. What's next? Okay. It's the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. It's 13 minutes long, and it was on the Power Slave album from the mid-80s. And there's a fantastic version on the Live After Death album. And this song, yeah, it's based on a poem by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. The water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. And the story of the mariner who kills the albatross, and I think that's where the phrase, you know, having an albatross hung around your neck comes from. This song would, at that time, yeah, it's commonplace now, even for Iron Maiden, but back then, to pull off a 13-minute album, 13-minute song, and it's the reason it's at number 3 is because it's probably the best example you'll ever have of a long, epic song. Because unlike some of Iron Maiden's later songs, this one never bores you. It somehow, even though it's 13 minutes long, somehow gets to the point and stays at the point. It is magnificent. It's magnificent. Yeah, it's magnificent. But what could be better than rhyming the Ancient Mariner? I don't hear you ask. Well, let me tell you. A song called Hallowed Be Thy Name from the Number of the Beast album. It's had recent controversy because there was another band that claimed that they'd written some of the lyrics for it. And it turns out that they had. And Steve Harris, back in the day, in the late 70s, I think it was, liked the lyrics so much that he allegedly said to the bloke who'd written them, "Do you mind if I use those in my song?" And he allegedly said, "Yeah, not a problem." But anyway, another band member, whatever, more recently has said, "Well, hang on, they're the lyrics from our song," and whatever. So I think Iron Maiden now give them a percentage or songwriting credits or something. However, none of that changes the fact, because I when it comes to this sort of like copyright tangled web that we're often in, I don't really care particularly about someone using a lyric from here and there. Or music either. I've got quite a lax attitude to it. If you build upon something or take the essence of something but create something different that I enjoy, how much do I care that there's something previous that brought it about? I mean, I'm an intelligent person. I should be allowed to go back and listen to the previous work and judge for myself. It's up to me whether and to what extent a song like Stairway to Heaven took someone else's work. I think it's a fine line. I think there is a point where if someone just steals your artistic creation and makes money from it, then that is probably a problem. That is theft. That's like someone breaking into your house and taking, you know, your pens. But with Hallowed Be Thy Name, you've got another epic song, and the fact it's at number 2 means that even for everything I just said about Rhyming Ancient Mariner, I'm suggesting to you that Hallowed Be Thy Name is even more epic. And this is a song about basically someone on death row. When someone talks about what Iron Maiden mean and how Iron Maiden are and what Iron Maiden do, compartmentalized aspect of songs, that kind of galloping drum beat rather, the structure of like an intro section and a verse section, and then a chorus where, funnily enough, he, "Oh, hallowed hallowed be thy name, oh, hallowed be thy name. Funny enough, yeah, he sings the title of the song again and again and again and again. And the massive dual guitar solos and the big, long structure of things. So by the end, you're exhausted. A little bit like I am now doing this video. By the end, you're exhausted. And you probably do want to get hung yourself. That's what this song causes in you. And it's so epic that if you ever made a chocolate bar called an epic rather than a topic, if you snapped that chocolate bar in half, it would probably have hallowed be thy name written on the inside of it. It's a fantastic song, and it's from the Number of the Beast album. So we've got Clive Bird drumming on this song, Bruce Dickinson singing on it. I can't remember who wrote it. It's very, very light. I think it must have been Steve Harris wrote it. That all this leaves is what song could possibly be at number 1 in my chart of the greatest Iron Maiden songs. Well, bearing in mind at one point Aces High was at number 1, I had various songs at number 1. There's some notable absences in my top 10. You know, just looking at the list again, just seeing that 22 Acacia Avenue didn't make it. You know, it was at number 11. What can I do? What song was at number 1 in my chart? It turns out there's only one song it could be. And yeah, it's populist to have this song at number 1. Although bear in mind that Wasted Years didn't make the top 20. There's only one song that can be at number 1. And it's probably the most influential, one of the most influential songs in heavy metal. It introduced really Bruce Dickinson to the world, and it's one of the greatest heavy metal songs of all time. It had to be at number 1. Woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil sends the beast with wrath, because he knows the time is short. Let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666. I left alone, my mind was blank. I needed time to think, to get the memories from my mind. What did I see? Can I believe that what I saw that night was real and not just fantasy? 'Cause what I saw in my own dream were the reflections of my warped mind staring back at me. Someone criticised the band. I think, yeah, but they're probably the same person. They're probably another one of my band-maid arguments. And they said something like, I'm more interested in bands that write about, you know, love and real life. I'm not interested in all that shit, heavy metal shit about devil worshipping and shit. And it's like, I think you've kind of missed the point. I think you missed the point. As a band, you've got to have topics to write about. It's not an interesting world if everyone does write from personal experience. If everyone writes from personal experience, like my songs tend to be, you know. But if everyone writes from personal experience and it's all about love and relationships and, like, you know, you're not going to have bands like Black Sabbath or Judas Priest. I mean, when Judas Priest wrote about Painkiller and you got the character of the Painkiller on the bike with the blades for wheels and stuff. I mean, writing from personal experience versus writing from the imagination. Holy shit. I can't believe we have to have these arguments. The Number of the Beast had people in the streets in America burning the albums. I've got it here. You had people in America. This is how stupid the Americans are, right? Just like the Beatles, when John Lennon claimed that he was more relevant to the youth of that time than Jesus Christ. And for some reason, the Americans thought that he said he was more popular than God, more popular than Jesus. Not quite what he said. He said he was more relevant to the youth than Jesus. more popular than Jesus. But they thought he said... One thing I've criticised John Lennon for there is that he did... Basically, the Americans went out and bought Beatles albums and burnt them in the street. And rather than just think, stupid Americans, you're still having to buy my albums. You've got loads of people who don't even like me going out and buying my... This is what he should have thought. You've got loads of people who are going out buying my albums who wouldn't have even bought them before, and they're burning them in the street. And every time they burn one, they've got to buy another one. He apologised. He said, sorry. I'm sorry I said I was bigger than God. Anyway, Iron Maiden released The Number of the Beast, and the Americans thought that this was a devil-worshipping album, so they went out and bought this album and burnt it. I'm not quite sure why. Never really sure why that sort of thing happens. It's a bit of a strange thing to do. But Iron Maiden certainly aren't devil worshippers. You could level that sort of criticism at someone like Jimmy Page, but not Iron Maiden. What they did, and it's like Sir Ian McKellen when he played Gandalf. You may ask how I can play a wizard, because I'm not a wizard. I'm not a wizard. What I do is I pretend to be a wizard. And how do I know what to say? I have lines. I read the lines. So you get Syrian, 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 Syrian. You shall not pass! Syrian, 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 Syrian. I mean, that was just from me nicking it from extras. Ricky Gervais. But my point being, as a band, as a songwriter, you are actually capable of writing a song about a subject matter without taking part in it yourself. And even if you listen to the lyrics to Number of the Beast, people before they go out and burn the album, they should actually just read the lyrics or listen to the lyrics. But it's a great song. Iron Maiden wanted to get Vincent Price in to read that little bit at the beginning, the "Woe to you, O earth and sea" part. But apparently they phoned Vincent up and he just said, look, I've had enough, all right? I've had enough. I've done Alice Cooper, not literally, not sexually. I've done Alice Cooper, I've done Michael Jackson. Let's just give it a rest now. Just give it a rest now. In fact, I don't know if had he done Michael Jackson at the point they asked him. This is 1982, isn't it? Isn't this 82? 82. And Thriller was recorded in, oh God, around the same time, wasn't it? That's interesting. I need to think about that. Yeah, okay. It's a powerful song. It's an iconic song. It is worthy of being #1 in anyone's chart, any band's chart. And so Number of the Beast is at #1. Yeah, I think it's a pretty obvious contender for #1. It was never going to be my #1. I wanted to do anything but have Number of the Beast at #1. You know, look at the songs that aren't in this chart. Remember Tomorrow isn't in the chart. 20. Still Life, 18. But anyway, Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. If you've never heard of Iron Maiden before, you couldn't do worse than to just, seeing as I've picked, seeing as Number of the Beast is #1 and Hallowed Be Thy Name was #2, and both those songs are on this album, I suppose you couldn't go wrong really with just, if you had to pick one album, don't even pick Seventh Son, just pick this one. Go and listen to The Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. The first song on it, it's a bit of a shame that it starts with Invaders, but the second song is Children of the Damned, which was also in this chart. So, I mean, look at that track list. Invaders, Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue, The Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, Gangland, Hallowed Be Thy Name. Yeah, there's probably, you know, I don't really know what Gangland's doing on there particularly, but on the whole, I'm just rambling now. Let's just make the video an hour long. Why not? Go and listen to this album. Go and listen to The Number of the Beast. Just listen to The Number of the Beast, that one song if you want, because it's at #1. It's one of the greatest songs of all time. Thank you very much. Let me know if you want any more of these top 10 thingy-jigs, and I will bid you farewell. Thank you to Iron Maiden for being such a superb band and making my life, honestly, over the years, making my life a better place to be. Thank you to anyone who's watched this. Thank you very much. Let me know if you're an Iron Maiden fan. Let me know down below what your top 10 is. Because it is interesting to see. And it'll be interesting to see how it's skewed by the fact that perhaps your favourite album is a different album. You know, someone whose favourite album is Somewhere in Time is going to be, looking at the list, is going to be disappointed with my top 10. Because I don't think I managed to get any songs from Somewhere in Time on there. I toyed with Deja Vu. I toyed with Stranger in a Strange Land. Also, you'll note that there's nothing after Seventh Son. Nothing. So my top 10 doesn't include anything from, which is quite unbelievable, but No Prayer for the Dying, Fear of the Dark, the Blaze Bayley albums, Brave New World, the Dancing album, the Matter of Life or Death, The Final Frontier, Book of Souls. I don't think I was toying with something from, well, Killers itself, but nothing from the second album. So you got nothing from 10 albums. So certainly you can imagine some of your top 10s having none of the songs in my top 10 on them. That's the way of the world. Thank you very much. Over and